there's so much to talk about with that race. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. It was pretty wild from my eyes, but it had to be wild from everybody else. I mean, it was an awesome show.
Well, I'm Jonathan Bird, track president and general manager here at the Indianapolis Speedrome, the world's home of the figure eight.
My name is Kristen Armour, and I am the owner of the number 10 late model. My husband drives it. I pay, he plays.
My name is Tim Logan. I drive the 81 late model. Yeah, my uncle, he worked here for years. He raced here for years. Started racing here in '64. My mother actually met my father here at the track and spent a lot of time here at the track before I was born. And the big joke in my family was always I was born to be here because I was actually conceived here.
It's just something that we've grown up around and have just grown a love for, you know, that you just want to always just keep doing it over and over. It's I don't know how to, just a passion, and you just keep after it every year to try to do better.
Every Saturday from the time it starts in the beginning of the year, April 1st to, what's the last date?
Actually, this 3 hour is our last big race.
I'm an executive all week. I work in my business all week long, and to get out, to come out here is just, it's awesome.
This car was bought at the end of 2014. I bought it for him for early Valentine's present. It was a complete roller minus motor.
Thrill of it. Nothing like being in one of these cars driving the figure eight.
Jeff has 4 kids. He's got 2 older, which the oldest son is with us in the pits when he's not in his military duties.
I am with the Outlaw in the number 1 car, Brooke, Honey. It's a mixed emotions. It's fun, it's scary, it's exciting, and you want everybody that you love to win. So I want him to win ultimately, but if Ben won, Austin won, or Mark won, I'd be happy for all of them.
My name's Eddie Rogers. Worked as Tim Logue's crew chief. You know, me and Tim go many years back, and you know, I see Tim as a brother more than a friend.
I don't have a very big family, and I don't have a lot of race fans in my family personally, and so most of our crew is made up of Eddie's family, and which has been way supportive of me.
You know, throughout the season, we've of course had our fumbles and our mishaps.
Yeah, he's my crew chief.
Albert, we won him in the divorce between him and his ex-wife.
He pretty much is my right-hand man on it when it comes down to the car.
He's always been there. He's always been, even when Jeff raced stock cars, anytime we need him, all we have to do is say, hey, Albert, and he's there.
My crew chief is Ryan Garrigus. He's been with me, I want to say, since 2010. One of my first races with him helping me down in Jeffersonville, Indiana. And he's been with me ever since. And he's always been a great help, and I really love to have him at the track with me, and you know, somebody else to talk to about setup adjustments and help me turn the wrenches. We're just always pushing for that one little thing to help, and sometimes you're worried that you don't have enough to run with the other guys, so you want to make big swings at it, but then you're afraid you're going to hurt the car, make it not any faster. So it's definitely, you know, nice to have somebody I can trust his opinion on things, and we can both persuade each other each way and kind of meet in the middle on our changes. With Ryan and other guys that help me, that if they can make time to make it to the shop, then that's great, and I appreciate their help. And they know that we're not a high-budget racing team, so they want to help me because they want to and they enjoy doing it. And that's what most of the people are out here in Speedrome, not very many paid crew members.
So they got that moniker, the world's home of the figure eights. The sport was actually invented here.
Well, you know, my uncle always said it best, that this is the only true sport. Football, baseball, soccer, and all those other things are all fun and great to do, but those are all games. This is really a sport.
And guys will do anything they can to just find that extra half a tenth or that tenth or whatever it does to get that advantage to go out and try to win. And not only just win, but you got to survive. And that's what makes the figure eight so incredible is you don't just have the cars that you're racing in front of and behind you, but you got the cars on the other half of the track that are coming at you. It's a lot of fun.
We're always contending, you know, but I got my brothers and cousins that are all tough competition, and there's been a lot of great other drivers in the past that I've never got to, you know, race against and compare myself to, and have great stats in their name, you know, and I just want to keep building the stats to my name, and maybe I can consider myself up there with them at some point. We've made a lot of laps around here, and you get to, everything does seem to be like, I guess I've heard the term synchronized chaos out there. If the one guy's faster than the other, like say I'm going behind somebody, I get really close to them, then they know that the next time they should probably ease up and let me slip by. Typically how it'll work, but not always the case, you know, but you just have to adjust to that when it happens, you know, and sometimes it can cause an issue.
I love all forms of racing, but this is by far the most exciting form of racing on earth.
Part art, part science is what I'd like to say. You've got to see when you're on this half of the racetrack, and you've got to turn your head to see where's your gap, because that gap that's on either side of the racetrack, it should be the gap that's at the crossover. And you got guys who will know that when the nose of the guy that's coming the crossover is up, that he's going, you might want to let him go first. But if his nose is down, he's braking, he's letting you go. And that just comes with experience of racing lap after lap and year after year at the speedrome. Just because you're a fantastic race car driver doesn't mean you're going to be a fantastic figure eight driver.
You get into a zone, I guess that's how you put it. Once you're there, it's timing and all that comes just in the middle of it. You just there.
You look to the center and you're kind of trying to look across the center and trying to see where that hole is going to open up for you. And then you come in as you start to turn that last corner and head for that X. You're looking to see who's turning the corner and coming for the X from the other side. And you're starting to see where those spots are.
You do get in the zone in the race, and you know, just made so many laps around here now at Speedrome. It just kind of comes naturally. Just the more experience, the better. You know, everybody, the more laps you make, it just becomes more natural when you're out there.
You have your good nights and you have your bad nights. It's kind of rough when you don't get to finish. I go up to the fence and usually I will watch the rest of the race. I usually keep my eye on a certain driver.
You pull one out and you see him in the back of the mirror. What goes through your head the last 5 or 7 laps?
Well, you know, he's had a real good year. I had a decent year last year, but glad to finally have that little edge and actually beat him for once with such a good year.
Him and Casey White got into it, which is the 41 car. The radiator busted. He came in. We had one loaned to us.
It does get expensive. You start banging off the wall a bunch every night, 2 or 3 times a night, you will lose a lot of parts. Some of our bad nights, yes, we've ripped whole corners off the car and we've had to repair them right there. It takes a little bit to get it back together, but it's part of the racing situations. I've been there by myself. I've done it with 2 people. I've done it with 3 people. I've done it up to 20 people. But it's nice to have family and friends to be there with you. Yes, if you have a dominant car and you're there on top of the game every week, yes, you will. You might be able to profit out of it if you win every other night. But if you're one of the ones that's just straggling in the top 10, you'll be lucky to pay for your fuel half the time. So we still do it though.
Dad and my uncle, even back to my grandpa and great uncle, have done it back in the, I'd say 50s, 60s, and then my dad probably in the 70s and 80s, all the way up to, my dad and Uncle Bruce had done it for 30 years or longer, so got us rolling into it when we were old enough.
Yeah, my dad, he's been, like I said, he's been here since the track opened. He got put in the Hall of Fame last year. He's been a car owner, driver, promoter. So yeah, it's kind of a family, you know, he had a bunch of family run, and now me and my brother run, my nephews race out here, so it's just kind of, you know, this is what I did every Saturday growing up.
I stand behind him. It's what he likes to do. I also have family that races out there back in the day, current. I've been going out there since I was a little kid.
Everybody asks that question, what's it feel like or what's it seem like? Because it seems really close from the stands. I said, well, if it seems really close from the stands, because it was really close.
It's definitely an adrenaline rush like everyone would think it would be, and that's why we love to do it.
Did not want a collision or any kind of trouble at all, being, you know, we're just a few weeks away from the World Figure 8 Championship.
Yeah, if you hit, it hurts. There has been a lot of people that have been seriously hurt and seriously killed.
You know, I am fighting for a run. I'm coming through the crossover. If you see me coming, I'm sorry if you're leading, you better back down because I'm coming through.
That was going to determine who won Rookie of the Year. We had many things against us at that point, but you know, you still have to show up, you still have to run your heart out.
Unfortunately, it was just a racing accident. The car sitting there for a little bit, and he thought he could come across with the group, and the group seen me coming, they checked up, and he didn't, and I got him. And I hit him hard enough that I bent the steering wheel slightly. It rung my bell a little bit, and I didn't lose consciousness or nothing. The main thing that it did was it knocked the air out of my lungs. It just knocked it out of me. It took me a good, probably 3 minutes to catch my breath.
I'm all right. Just got the wind knocked out of me. That's a hard impact.
He ended up with a very hard impact in the crossover. Then we, you know, after we loaded up that night, we literally got it right out of the trailer and we started digging into it the very next day. So
They're just still things you've got to learn and experience and take your lumps. It happens to every figure eight driver who's worth their salt. For them to become the best and the best, man, there's a lot of school hard knocks tuition to pay.
He eased down the front stretch, but the time we came around for the next lap, he was at a dead stop towards the pit gate, and pretty much we came to a dead stop there, and everybody pretty much collected everybody.
Well, me and Albert ran to the pit, and we're waiting on him to come out. Next thing you know, here comes Tamara. Hey, he's going to the ambulance. So I ran over there, and as I'm paying attention to him, I just looked back.
careful. If it hurts you too much, you'll pass out.
Hey, Jeff got his arm hit.
I think that it's a possible broken arm, maybe a slight concussion, and that's the last we heard. So now it's just getting the car loaded up and going home for the night.
You know, when you think you have enemies sometimes, a lot of times they'll be the first ones to show up to help you out.
When we came off the turn, I seen you gunning, and I was like, Jeff, where are you going?
I never seen him. Never seen him.
His arm's hurting pretty bad right now, so he's down asking a buddy if they would drive his car for him tonight in the figure eight.
It's a unique sport in many ways, but you know, people really want to help each other out, and you know, that's what I love about it.
Good Lord, this thing's slow.
Oh, sweet man.
Well, if you're completely okay with it, and I bet I asked them a good dozen times if they were okay with it, because it's a lot of money, and you know, putting trust in someone else, it's a big deal.
Because of Eddie going and driving, you know, the other race car, we had a temporary crew chief. Whenever you have to take a temporary crew chief and switch them around, all these cars are built quite a bit different.
Let me ask you, where in the hell do we put the fluid in at? Right here?
You know, I had my idea. I wanted to do the best I could, despite the situation. Never drove the car, and you know, we ran the whole race basically untouched, and we finished 9th. And you know, so we were happy, and they were happy.
You can't take these cars and run them very other tracks. There's not a whole lot of tracks that run figure eight cars like this. So if we don't help each other out and get cars on the track, we're just going to lose the car count, and then the class is just going to shut down.
Ben, Austin, Jesse, Mark, they will go around and help whoever they can. It's just a family. This is a family.
Yeah, the 3 hour.
A gentleman by the name of John Stiles latched on to that, but turned the World Figure Eight Championship from a 25 lap race into an unknown, unheard of 3 hour endurance race.
It is the most dangerous, vicious race on the planet.
Nobody could last 3 hours racing figure eight racing, and no car could make it 3 hours figure eight racing.
There's nothing else crazier than this race.
It's definitely something that if you haven't been to it, you've got to go to it.
Because it's the only race in the world where you can literally not start the race and not finish the race, and you can win the race. Because it is whoever completes the most laps in 3 hours wins.
Been to every one of them, and so yeah, you can't help but get excited when you're a figure eight fan for the 3 hours.
It gives you a little bit of advantage if you race up here all the time. There's only been 3 guys ever to win the big race that not from this track. One of those is my dad, so we're going to try to come up here and get that done this year. So
yeah, there's going to be a lot of good cars from all over the country here, so it's going to be a good race.
You know, with the experience at 3 hours, always, you know, a lot of cars, so it's a little more crazy and hectic out there than what you're normally used to on a regular night. But any figure eight racing is always crazy, but the 3 hours just got that edge on any other, and anybody that's watched it will tell you how thrilling it is to watch.
Tim decided that he wasn't going to run the 3 hour this year.
Eddie's one of my best friends.
And he opened up his car to me, and you know, it was you know, it surprised me. It actually, you know, it really did.
And he had finished 8th in 2 years in a row, in 2011 and 2012, and I felt like he was a good driver. I felt like he deserved the right to run it, and I did everything I could to give him the safest, fastest, most prepared race car that I could.
I've watched a lot of them. I've got to compete in the 3 hour. I drove the 90-minute race earlier this year, and the carnage from my car was horrendous. It tore off both sides of my car and the complete rear end. The 3 hour race is more carnage, more cars. It's the only race in the world, as you may know, that finishes sometimes with more cars than it starts, which is hard to understand.
This year, there are pre-registered 51 cars. Once Thursday and Friday and Saturday come, there might be drivers that are not registered that show up. So as of right now, there's 51 cars. 28 start the field. The rest are lined up at the on-track gate as alternates. And those alternates will line up by their fast time. So technically, once one car goes off, one alternate goes on. Eventually, all 51 cars will be on that track.
You know, I had to get creative because I knew what I was going to be facing. But all in all, you know, you have so much adrenaline going through your blood, you know, you just don't even think about it.
It used to be like an actual endurance race to where you stay out of trouble. You could go 7-8 laps down. Some guys have bad luck and come back. Now it's, you know, wide open. If you fall 2 or 3 laps down, it's going to be hard to get them back. So the old style was kind of more my style. You know, we're not one of the super fast guys, but we run consistent, run good. So, but we'll get out there and do laps, and hopefully, you know, we can be there at the end.
It's just not an easy walk in the park to come here and try to run with the best in the world. You know, you got to be on your A game. You got guys that want to race a 50 lapper in and out, get on the gas to be done. You got other guys that can lay back and pace themselves. That's the hardest thing about this race is patience and pacing yourself.
It was actually a time of my life. You know, it just brought back so many memories all at one time, and you know, getting into a car that I've actually been working with Tim on all season long. You know, and then I got to feel the results. I got to experience what I've been working with all year.
You know, some people say there's no reason to run it unless you think you can win it. That's a race that you run to see if you can actually, it's an endurance race. That race is finished on average 400 and a little over 400 laps. If you think about that, that's 800 times you've got to make the decision where you're at in that crossover in 3 hours time. 800 times, that's a lot of mental wear and tear.
It's one of those races that the prestige of it and being able to win it is worth it all, to go out there and risk and do what you want to do and be able to say that you ran that race or have potentially, hopefully win it at some point for myself.
Yeah, I blowed the motor the night before the 3 hour. We didn't have another motor, couldn't get another motor, so we dedicated our time and parts and everything to Bobby Whitaker. Pretty much we just took our whole crew trailer with all the parts and all the goodies, and we supported him with everything that we had. We even took the battery out of my truck and had to put it in the race car.
You know, you have to give that race a lot of respect.
Still, I mean, it's still fun to be there, even if I'm helping somebody else. I mean, I'd rather be driving myself, but that's a big race to be missing. Hope it don't happen next year.
You know, she's always 100% supportive of everything I do, and very reasonable with the time I spend in the shop, and for her to be there and involved, and it's always nice to have her there with me. So
I will have tears the first 5 laps, because those 5 laps make or break, because our people are pedal to the metal. Being nervous isn't even a good terminology for this race. It is all about luck, driver, and watching where the heck you're going.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Getting buckled in, and you know, Tim became my crew chief.
Thank you.
He stayed out on the track there with me, and you know, he flat out said right there, he says, you know, I don't care where we end up, just come back out of it, you know, safe.
Showtime Indianapolis Speedway, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you all here for the 41st annual World Championship 3-hour pit rate endurance race.
It's a Mad Max race. Run as hard as you can until you see that checkered flag.
Yeah, you have a little sun issue, and I always wait for. It's nice when it gets down behind the grandstands there, but you always fight it a little bit. And then, you know, like I say, it is nice when it gets down. The lighting of the track changes, but just something you don't notice too much. You just are out there dealing with the race itself. You can't even hardly pay attention to that stuff.
Of figure eight racing starts now.
Sometimes you wait for a few to start breaking out so that way it calms down a little, because you're out there just thinking, man, I don't know, any second I could get wrecked out here. And as a few start to fall out, you're thinking, well, maybe it'll start to calm down a little here. You don't want them all to wreck out, but at the same time, you're thinking it'd be nice if it calmed down a little bit. So it's nice and a good show for the fans to have a lot of cars out there, but at the same time, we're out there trying to not get crashed, and it doesn't hurt our feelings to have a few go off every once in a while, but so as long as it's not us.
Got tangled up with Chris Green, and he got spun on the corner.
Oh, trouble in turn number 4. Around with the number 22 of Green. Turn number 4 and the 81. Oh, the 18.
Oh, more cars stacking up into this, Tommy. Drivers don't know where to go.
Oh, traffic jam into turn number 4, and this is it. You see the 48 slammed hard into the back of the 17C of Corey Harmon. Doodle Ferris in the 48.
Harmon's rear wheels are off the ground.
I got caught on the edge of his rub rail, and I'm sitting there, you know, after it died, I'm sitting there trying to restart this thing, and it's just grinding away and can't get anything to happen. And I'm saying every prayer in my head, you know, and within seconds of time, and finally it hit, and we fired back up, and you know, we kept going and charging along. So
what happens is they start with 28 cars. If one car goes out for more than 2 laps, another alternate car can come on. If I started the race and I maybe popped a tire and I came off to fix a tire, if I miss 2 laps, they'll put an alternate out. He starts from 0 laps, but I get to come back out as well. So the race can literally finish, and has finished, with more cars than it started.
trouble for the 74 machine. Hargraves sparking it up through the intersection. Got to wonder if he's got a flat left rear. Hard to tell as he pulled into the infield or the pit area.
Yeah, we had a great race going. I mean, hanging on there, I think in the third spot, maybe even took the lead there for a little, and we were in good shape staying on the lead lap, and that's what we really wanted to do, stay on the lead lap.
Tunney and Whitaker.
Yeah, we run into a little issue there, got pinched between some cars, and for a wild ride really thought that something was going to be tore up on the car, but got back down and in control and kept driving, just hoping I wouldn't run into an issue later on that was a gradual, thing to break over time.
The clock is going, he backs it up. Oh, more trouble! And your 3T of Tunney around.
There's the strategy of when they're going to make their pit stop. If it's after 90 minutes or if it's right before and we see it's going to be a long caution and I'm on this side of the racetrack.
We lost ground when we come back out of the pits, and I don't think that it's what happened in the pits. I think it was the timing of when I came into the pits. I rushed in a little early instead of letting the pace car regroup with everybody.
There's some really strategic and detailed strategic things happening where you would not even think of, and every day you don't have to think of, but this one time a year. And there's also those times where some guys rolling on their own power, and then there's the unfortunate few who have to be taken off by the hook or by the flatbed.
We had our plan of attack: come into pits, get in, get tires, get fuel, get out as fast as we can. We came in during a caution, and we figured that was one of the best times for us. But when I rounded the corner and was able to see our pit spot, we had another car halfway into it, and that was a whole nother story. And ended up being a funny deal at the end. And so we got our pit stop done, but we did slow up another guy.
Drivers getting out of their cars. The Bulldog Whitaker just hopped out of his car. I don't know if he had the choice.
He's probably trying to figure out how that happened.
Bobby did think it was over. Once he was able to get out of the car, he seen that the oil pan was just opened up like a tin can, and once they was able to bring him off the track, he was already undressed and, oh no, we're done, she's done, there's no way we can do it. And then Jeff here got up underneath it and, oh no, we can work it. So he worked his magic with the welder and, hey, get dressed, you're going back out.
I was glad that we got through the pit stop part of the race. I was hoping to have not lost as much ground as I had, but we're still just hanging in there. You never know what can happen in this race, and hoping that my car would be better on the longer portion of the run there. But one little hesitation and slip up by one car can cause a lot of issues. It knocked me around a little bit, but I was okay. Just more upset that we didn't make it through the whole race, and I knew my night was over with.
Right into the driver's door of Jesse Tunney.
Boom, you can see that car just flexing up.
You can see the rear end just completely ripping out. I'm actually a little bit surprised that we saw it happen this late in the race, but Tommy, you're never safe from the intersection.
Never safe, absolutely not.
You know, when you're out there for 3 hours, you know, one thing I try to do is just not even think about the car. I try to think of, you know, especially during cautions, I think about things with all the kids and, you know, do other things to try to take up my time. It sounds silly, but it's just, you know, everybody has their thing and how they do things. So it just kept getting better and better. So, you know, I was getting a little more excited as the race went on, and you know, it actually makes you want to run harder.
It was another one of those just racing accidents, and you know, both cars got severe damage, and Jesse was hurt. I mean, there was no doubt he was hurt. Probably should have taken a little more time to get checked out than what he did. He is a phenomenal driver. There's no question. I mean, he is, when I talk about the world's greatest, he is definitely in the top 5 of the world's best drivers that's ever put on that uniform.
Here it is, Jeffrey, send it home.
Ladies and gentlemen, out of the last turn, the pharmacy of Mike Hadley Jr. takes the victory in the 3-hour World Figure 8 Championship.
And Mike Hadley drove a great race. He was the class of the field. The guy that deserved to win the race at the end won the race. And so you could see it in his eyes, you could see it, hear it in his voice, you could see it on his face, how much that win meant to him. And the crowd of people who were excited for him. I mean, that was a big family win. It was a while coming, you know. It's that next tier, that next level of figure 8 superstar and speedrome superstar here at the track. You know, a star was born. A star was born this night.
Awesome.
Awesome guy.
Very good, clean driver.
He deserved it.
Yes, it was a well-deserved win for him. Yeah, awesome job.
I tell you what, I'm not really worried about that trophy, and as of right now, I don't give a damn about that $20,000, but there's one thing they won't do, and that's take my name off being the 2017 3-hour. I can run with the best of them.
But yeah, that race, I think we did 386 laps. That's, you know, double the crossover passes, and you know, it's mentally and physically demanding more than what you could ever imagine. One, I survived the race. I had a top 10 finish. We placed 8th place, and that was my 3rd 8th place in a row in that race. I can't even count how many people come up to me and was congratulating me and job well done, and you know, it makes you a pretty happy guy.
There were 55 drivers, different drivers that had started a race this year at the Speedrome before the 3-hour. And out of that 55, I'm going to tell you 25 of them are probably the world's greatest figure 8 drivers. Whether you like them personally, whether you have conflicts with them, you have to respect their ability.
Yeah, definitely had a lot of hours in the shop and work. You know, a lot of help. My another crew member, Mark, and Ryan, and a few other guys helping me out. That we were able to get it all taken care of. And we were really pushing through long hours this past week and trying to get it ready. Even last night, had enough of sitting there, looking at the car like, man, am I going to really be able to get this thing ready for tomorrow? But we always managed to make it happen one way or another. And we're here and third fast for the night, so can't complain too much.
I tell you, right now we're full throttle into our two new chassis. There's not a day goes by where we're not doing something. If we're not physically here, we're on the phone, we're making calls, we're trying to figure out who has the best of everything.
Well, it's interesting because I got to wear two hats this year. I got to be both car owner and crew chief for a little bit, and also a driver. So really 3 hats. Not much of a crew chief. I'm definitely not good at that task.
I shined a penny to get this thing.